Welcome to today's session on assessment preparation. I am Chantal Adams, the student counsellor at the Western Cape campus, and I'm your presenter for today. You can feel free to use the chat function in order to post any questions, comments, or concerns that you have. And then I'm also going to just provide you with my email address in case you wish to book an individual session with me. So for now, I'm the only counsellor in the Western Cape at the Paro office, and the counselling services is offered via online sessions using the Teams app or email, telephone, or in person. So depending on what's more convenient for you. Because I'm the only counsellor, I work by appointment only. So if you need me to call you, you can just drop me an email and indicate a convenient date and time, and then I will try and fit it into my schedule, or I will indicate my availability, and then we can agree on a date and time. So I always try and ensure that all of my students are serviced on the day that they submit an inquiry. If there's a topic or issue that is not presented today that you're perhaps sitting with, you can also put that in the chat function, so I can just get a sense for what the other concerns are, and also get a sense of what your needs are, and perhaps what other topics we need to cover in future sessions. I also just need to make sure that I share the attendance register with you. Just give me a second. And then evaluation form. So just make sure that you sign the attendance register so that I can ensure you get a copy of the recording of today's session. And then you can also complete the evaluation form where you can provide us with feedback on perhaps future topics that you wish us to talk about. Okay. Perhaps think about questions that you have, perhaps post your questions. We'll see in terms of the presentation today whether we've then answered all of your questions at the end of the session. And if not, then we'll take the questions in the group. All right, let me start with the formal presentation for today. These are the topics that we're going to cover today. The various types of assessment, when to expect and how to make sense of exam results, the various assessment periods. We're going to look at supplementary exams, the exam timetable, how to make sense of whether you passed a module or not, remarks, exam results, and how to purchase your scripts if you wish to do that. And then we're going to look at the last session, we're going to look at how to study. So assessment preparation is also your active study phase. So we're going to look at note making and the various types of note making. We're going to touch briefly on exam anxiety. And then we're going to do a little reflection in terms of what we've learned today. And then I'll just end off with the resources and references used for the presentation today. So the types of assessment I've included, they are multiple choice, and all of your assessments are done via my Unisa. So I think I must just hit the pause button and take a step back before we jump into the types of assessment. So I'm working on the assumption that everyone knows where to find the study material, everyone's accessed the study material. If you have registered and you've indicated on the registration portal that you want the material couriered to you, then you will get hard copies. But if you did not indicate that when you registered, everything will be online. Okay. So you access all of your study material online via the My Unisa portal, and for every module you registered for, you will have a module tab where you can access all of your assignments, your study guides, and as well as your tutorial letters. If your module is an online module, then all of your study material is online. You will not get any hard copies because it's an online module. So you also need to understand the nature of your modules. So some of them will include multiple choice assessments that you can submit via My Unisa. Some of it will require handwritten assignments. So there are some requirements regarding submission of those. You need to leave 5 centimeter blank space on the right-hand side of each page for your lecturers' feedback, scan the assessments to PDF before uploading them. So always ensuring that you understand the format in which you need to submit the assessment. Then there are portfolio assessments, or e-portfolio, which refers to a collection of evidence derived from your experiential training. It's important to familiarize yourself exactly with what the portfolio should include to ensure that you tick all the correct boxes. And then for computer science students, submit programs or program output. There's various formats in which it needs to be submitted, and only one file per assignment. So there's a link that I've included, and you'll all receive a copy of the presentation if you sign the attendance register. There's a link I've included on the slide that explains to you the step-by-step process of how the different, this exact slide, the types of assessments, and how to make sense of your various forms of assessment. So there is continuous assessment, which is a system of evaluating your progress throughout your either semester or year. So it's pieces of work that you need to submit, and it's not one final exam. So they assess you throughout your semester or the year, depending if you're registered for year or semester modules. Your formative assessment is to monitor your learning and provide you with ongoing feedback, usually in the form of assignments. And then your summative assessment is to evaluate your learning at the end of the semester, usually in the format of an examination. So remember, all examinations are online, and we'll get to the section that deals with how to prepare for a successful online exam. So throughout your semester or throughout your year, you'll be submitting either preparing portfolios, submitting assignments online, whether it's multiple choice or essay-based, and then you will write your online exam. So you either write an online exam, or you're busy with a practical module, or it's a portfolio. But if you have a written online exam, then you need to ensure that you understand the examination periods. So, and this was last year's dates. So this year, your examination is, if you registered in Jan-Feb, your examination will take place for semester 1 modules will take place in May, June, and your exam results is released in July, because July is the month of registration. So then you register for your semester 2 modules. Year modules, you can only register up until the 22nd of March. So from January to the 22nd of March, you write those exams in October, November, and your results are released around about mid to the 20th of December. And then there's different format in which the exam results are released to you. And remember, your exam results will be emailed to your formal communication with Unisa is via your My Life email address. So you always need to check your My Life. Also, your exam dates will be emailed to you. You must also be aware there are provisional exam dates and final exam dates. So for those who need to take leave and take time off work and schedule traveling arrangements, the provisional results are still subject to change until you receive your final exam timetable. The assessment, so this assessment periods, as I said, if you registered for semester 1, you're going to write your exams May, June. Deferred and supplementary assessments are scheduled in October, November of that same year. And then the summative assessments for semester modules offered in semester 2 take place October, November of that year. Deferred and sub-exams are scheduled in May, June of the following year. And then year modules and certain postgrad modules are only assessed in October, November, and deferred or supplementary exams for those postgrad students, we should all be undergrad students, but if there are any, they will only take place in Jan, Feb. Okay. So usually an undergrad student would be given 2 opportunities to register for a module, unless you receive the opportunity to write the sub-exam. So there are modules that do not make provision for supplementary exams or deferred exams and FI concessions, which includes the practical modules. signature modules. Let's just go back there. And modules with continuous assessment, and then postgrad research modules. No supplementary opportunities are granted for support deferred exams, except where expressly stated. Then where a student is granted a sub-exam and a deferred exam to the next exam opportunity, it will be the final exam opportunity. If you fail that exam, you will have to re-register and pay for the module, okay? If a student who fails, or if you're absent from the exam for any reason from the second exam opportunity, you will not be granted a further opportunity. You will have to register for the module and pay for it again. Then students who have passed the exams cannot apply for a second exam opportunity to improve your mark. If you want to improve marks for an exam that you've already passed, you must re-register and pay for the module again. The only reason that the university will accept as a reason for missing an exam is if you are ill, so you need to submit a doctor's note either 10 days before or after the exam, or personal circumstances such as work commitments, then you need to submit a letter from your employer on a letterhead stating the reasons why you're unable to write the exams, or a serious illness or death of a close relative during the exam period. And then you have to produce a death certificate. Your exam timetable I previously mentioned, your provisional exam timetable, which is subject to change. So if you're planning leave or traveling during exam time, you need to wait for the final exam timetable because those are the fixed dates. They will be emailed to your MyLife account prior to the commencement of exam and also available on my Unisa. No exam opportunities will be granted if students claim they have not received the exam timetable or if they have received it late. So you need to ensure that you check your exam dates. You need to make sure that you have the final table, ensure that you've got your dates and your times right. Now, making sense of your passing a module, you need to at least have 50%, or otherwise stated, you need to check the tutorial letters. So each of your modules on my Unisa will indicate the nature of the assessment and will also indicate the marks you need to secure in order to pass the module. And then just understanding if you plan or you're trying to secure a distinction for a module, you need to achieve 75% or higher. And then if you want to ensure that your qualification is passed with distinction, or cum laude as I refer to it, you need to pass all your modules for obviously the qualification at Unisa, passed all final level modules on its first attempt, and achieved an overall average of 75% or higher in the whole qualification. If you get your results and you want to apply for a remark because you're not happy with the results that you've achieved, only students who've achieved between 35 to 49% or between 68 and 74% in a module can apply for a remark. You can submit those applications via my Unisa. And then there is a remark, a small fee of 200 or 300 rand that needs to be paid for that process. So your examination results is published, it's emailed to your student, obviously to your MyLife account. It's available on my Unisa as well. And no exam results will be supplied via the telephone. So you won't be able to phone into the university to ask for your results. Your results is emailed to you and available on my Unisa. If you are not satisfied with your exam results, you also have the option of purchasing a script. You can apply in writing to purchase a copy of your script. You'll then be able to see how the examiner marked your paper and whether they've calculated all the marks correctly. There is a small fee attached to this process as well, and applications must be sent to purchasescript@unisa.ac.za, and always ensure the student number appears in the subject heading for the attention of the examinations department. So I want us to take a brief pause here before we go into note making to just quickly check if there are any questions or comments, concerns around understanding the assessment periods, your exam dates, understanding your marks and how to make sense of the various forms of assessments. You're welcome to put your comments or concerns or questions in the chat function if you have any. I don't see anything for now. Seems like everyone is okay. So let us move on to your active studying phase, note making. So you need to think of how are you going to prepare for exams, and you also need to think about whether your note-making strategies are effective in assisting you to effectively prepare for your examination. Also, different modules will require different kinds of study strategies. Someone studying history is going to use a different study method to someone studying accounting. Your accounting based subjects are very practical. They require a lot of practice for you to understand the process of getting to the using formulas or getting to the results that they're wanting. Whereas someone studying history, they need to memorize and understand factual information that they can just regurgitate in the exams. So your note-making methods are going to be completely different. So why would you want to make notes? It's an act of permanent records of the work you have done in the section of your study material and helps you create your ultimate study guide. Your notes are the first step in expanding your network of memory strategies, and it's the link between your study reading. So when you're preparing for exams and you're actively studying, you are using your study guides. Your study guide guides you through the coursework, and it will also refer you to various sections of the prescribed books. So in your note making, you'll be making notes from sections of the study guide as well as the important sections in the textbook. So you also need to ensure that you have all your prescribed textbooks. In your module tab, it will indicate on my Unisa, it will indicate that, that you need to purchase a prescribed book and then where you need to purchase the book from. Okay. So in terms of starting to study, when you're looking at a specific module, what is usually effective is to get an overview of the study units and the learning objectives. So you will look at the study guide, look at the contents page of your study guide, have a look at the various topics and subtopics in the module, and then browse through the learning objectives of each topic. You will obviously, as I said, use your textbook as indicated as per the study guides, and then use questions from the study guides and your learning outcomes to test yourself. And then you need to reflect on, am I understanding the content? Am I understanding the new concepts that are being introduced to me? Am I understanding the definitions of these concepts in the study guides? And if I'm still not understanding the content that's provided in the study guides, is there perhaps a YouTube video? Can I Google search this in order to help me make sense of the content, this new content that is being introduced to me? Because everything is going to be new. And there are various note-making methods. So we're going to look at the visual note-making method, narrative note-making method, and audio note-making. So the visual note-making method, some examples are mind maps or spidergrams, flowcharts or organograms. And as it describes itself, it's a visual representation of a study unit. So you using different color pens, color pens, highlighters, sticky notes, drawing little images, and you're using keywords in order to summarize either a study unit or a chapter or a sub-theme in the content. So this is just an example of what it could possibly look like. If you are struggling with note-making, you're welcome to schedule an individual session with me if you feel that your note-making strategy that you're currently using is not effective. Then the other example is the narrative note-making method. So the narrative note-making method is you writing. It's a lot of intense writing, listing, either via timeline notes, trying to use keywords and summarize, using the paragraph method or the question and answer method. So the question and answer method is the example that you're seeing in front of you. You're splitting a page into two, questions on the left-hand side, answers on the right-hand side. And that is your narrative note-making methods. So that's very text heavy. Audio is you are recording yourself on some kind of device and you're playing back the notes to yourself repeatedly. So you also need to think about and reflect on which note-making strategy is more effective for your learning style. Do you absorb information easier if it's presented via audio or text or images? So perhaps you also need to have a better understanding of what is my learning style. And if you would like more information regarding that, you're welcome to send me an email as well. I thought I would briefly touch on exam anxiety and how to manage exam anxiety. The Directorate for Counselling and Career Development has a host of online resources. The exam anxiety usually creeps up the month before or few weeks before exams, when you realize maybe you're not sufficiently prepared or you haven't covered all the coursework. So what's very important in being a successful open and distance learner is having self-management in place, proper time management in place, ensuring that you have a study schedule that ensures that you cover all your coursework before your scheduled exam date. So we have a host of resources, as I said, that assists with exam preparation. Am I losing motivation for this upcoming exams? Assessment of what you need to pay attention to. And then we've also got managing exam anxiety resources before, during, and after the exam as well. And it's available in various formats, MP3s that you can listen to, and some are available in PDF, interactive PDF documents as well. And the link to the exam prep site is included in the slide as well. So if you are someone who you're aware that you struggle with anxiety, perhaps you are on medication that treats anxiety, you just want additional support or someone to check in with you if you're okay, if you're sufficiently prepared, then make use of my email address and we'll schedule an individual session. So there's a number of reflective points that I've included, and I thought if I'm a student, this is what I would need to have my own personal checklist in order to ensure that I am effectively prepared for the assessment period and exam. Am I understanding the content and the difficult concepts? Can I respond to the self-assessment questions that are contained in your module outline for each of the modules? Did I work through the assessment questions? How prepared am I for the exam? And did I cover all the coursework before the scheduled exam date? Do I have a study schedule in place? And what am I using in order to effectively manage my time? Did I go online to test the online exam platforms before I write the exam? And do I have a suitable venue to write the exam? The last question I've included there is, do I have a relevant digital device to write exams? So in terms of writing the exam, I've included exam resources. The last section on the resource list. So I've included the student disciplinary code because I think it's important to understand in terms of your examination, the various proctoring tools and understanding your exam results. I've included resources on how to prepare for a successful online exam, which includes training videos. So the third last tick point, so the 3 ticks at the bottom, is resources to prepare for an online exam successfully. Training videos you can go watch. So it's all about how to use the IRIS app, the proctoring tools. Then there's basic skills for online exams. So you can work through the various online, it's free content. And Unisa's just put together courses to prepare you for understanding the apps and how to use the apps. Also, if you get stuck in exams, there's various contact numbers that you can contact in order to assist you if you get stuck in exams. And then I've also just included information on the student disciplinary hearing process. So if you do find yourself in a situation where you get your exam results and you get perhaps something like a DP, which is a disciplinary pending, then it also just explains to you the disciplinary hearing process and how that process unfolds so that you're not shocked and caught off guard. I think information and knowledge is your strength here at Unisa. So the more information you have, the more prepared you are for those uncertainties and challenges that could come up throughout your journey at Unisa. So as long as you understand the concepts and the processes, and I think also the terminology that Unisa uses, I think the better position you put yourself in. I'm checking the chat function and I don't see any questions or comments. I wonder if anyone has, okay, I see a question. Thank you for hosting. Honors students and submission for assessment of exams or research papers. What recommendations do you have to prepare for and produce this considering the volume of recommended reading? Okay, so I'm assuming then your assessments are essay-based assessments. Yeah, because you're referring to research papers. So I wonder which module is this? It's a are we talking about a research-based module where you need to put together a proposal or put together a research question? So for research, there is usually a research process involved, identifying a topic, data analysis, the methodology, and the method of analysis, the theory or the hypothesis. So all of those need to be outlined. For postgrad students, I think it's the School of Business. I'm going to get the link for you now and then share it with you. So it gives you an outline of what needs to be included in a research proposal, which helps you with the research methodology modules across all qualifications. A lot of the postgrad qualifications, most of them have research methodology or research report or proposal writing. So let me give you the details. I think the other thing that you need to think about as a postgrad student is your academic literacies. Are you confident in your ability to produce academic text at the level that is expected? So I also think that a check-in with our academic literacies facilitator, Mr. Jacques de Toy, is also not a bad idea. Jacques de Toy is our academic literacies coordinator. And let me just put his details in the chat function. So it's de Toy J at Unisa. Where can you download previous question papers to prepare for exams? So I think at Unisa, that's becoming a thing of the past. I know with the continuous assessments, because it's continuous and they assess you throughout the year, there are no past exam papers. Otherwise, I know that students are on Telegram groups where they share information with each other. So not all the modules will have past papers. So your tutorial, your study guides should have then self-reflective questions, what do they call it, self-assessment questions, to check that you understand the learning objectives for each study unit. Yes, you're welcome to contact Mr. Jacques Toy regarding your academic literacies. You will indicate to him the modules you are registered for. You will then be able to see which level you're on. And then he will indicate to you whether he already has a postgrad group of students, because then he offers group sessions. And if he does an individual assessment with you and he feels that you need individual support, then he will schedule individual sessions with you. So it all depends on the student's individual needs. I'm just trying to get to the School of Graduate Studies, how to write a research outline. So let me just share with you. So I don't even know if you're aware, Unisa has a what do they call this? Let me just get to the I myself need to use the right terminology. So it's the College of Graduate Studies that offers support to postgrad students, particularly with proposal writing, the research methodology. Let me show you what this web page looks like. So there you should be able to see it now. And so they offer support for postgrad students. And your research proposal and research project writing is all to prepare you for a possible future master's degree. Okay. There's information around Turnitin and research support. Let me just double check. And they also offer training, specified training throughout the year, workshop schedule, honors training program, training material that you can access. Yeah, academic writing, library information, info for science honors, searching journal articles. So also your referencing. Then I think another part of the question was the amount of recommended reading. So I think you need to read until you feel you've triangulated all the information and you are able to put together an effective proposal or a research topic that covers all of the aspects required. I hope that answered the question. Assessment, another question is assessment paper or IE research paper. So it's communications 404. Okay. So you can assume at Unisa 99% of things happen online. So it will definitely take place online. And sometimes in the evenings as well, because some of the students work during the day. So you also just need to check the schedules, the days and the times. So I think undergrad students also, if you are concerned about your academic writing, there are already writing groups in place. I think particularly for third-year students that would need support for improving their academic writing skills can also make contact with Mr. Jacques Dutoy. So someone is asking about the referencing technique you need to use. You'll need to check your tutorial letters, your study guides, in terms of the referencing technique that you are required to use. And then if you need support with referencing, you can email, let's see it in Cape Town Library. Let me just make sure I've got the correct email address. The library offers support with, they offer referencing workshops. So referencing is very important. Copyright plagiarism is very important for undergrad and postgrad students, particularly for postgrad students preparing for a master's, because you will also be required to put your research projects through Turnitin. So depending on whether you get a good score or not, yeah, plagiarism is very important. So it's also good to make use of the library services. They can assist you with understanding how to reference. And also, I think what's most important is copyright issues. You're not just going to take a whole paragraph from someone's work and copy and paste it into your own. So you need to be able to summarize, put things in your own words. You need to understand the referencing. What do they refer to? In text and all of those various different forms of referencing, I think is also very important, and that you need to know. Electronic resources. So electronic resources would be our libraries online repository would be, I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. Library. So this is the online library. You can search for resources. You can just type in and then click search. E-resource, the LibGuides, catalog search, e-reserves, e-publication finder. So if you want training on how to use the library's website, you can also email the library and they will schedule you and teach you how to navigate the Unisa library and how to use these search functions and the different catalogs. Is it safe to assume you can communicate with the module coordinators and lecturers now? Does the academic period only officially start in? No, your academic year has started. To what extent would you say that you assist or guide honor students? Okay, so you're welcome to email your lecturers. Your registration period closed the 22nd of March. So, I mean, some students would have registered already the 8th of Jan. So your academic year starts the minute you register and you have access to your study material. So support is already provided. We're already in mid-March. So you're welcome to email your lecturers, but it also depends on the nature of your question. So we first see if we can absorb if there's support services in the region. So our regional center, we have the library in Cape Town, and there's counseling. And then we have the advisory team if you have issues with registration or want to cancel modules. And then there is the tuition and facilitation of support. So if you need additional support for a module, then the FOL team they have, what do they call, tutors that they have in order to provide you the additional support if you're struggling with a module. So it also depends on the nature of the question. And then you can email your lecturers and also let me know if they're not responding, because that's also something else that you might bump into, is that you're emailing lecturers and no one responds. Does CPT counseling offer curriculum planning support? So when you speak about curriculum planning, I'm going to try to make sense of this. Are you meaning that if you registered for a 3-year degree, you want to plan how many modules you're going to take per semester or per year so that you can complete over 5 years or 6 years? Is that curriculum planning? I'm not sure if I'm understanding the question correctly. Yeah, so that we do assist with as well. Also depends on your curriculum. The B.Ed students, your curriculum, we work closely with the student advisors. So your student advisors will check your module selections, let's say for 5 or 6 years, and check that you've planned it according to, aligned it with the prerequisites and co-requisites. So certain second-year modules might have a prerequisite. You must complete first-year modules in order to take that second-year module, and then third-year modules would have second-year prerequisites. So you must have completed certain modules on level 2 in order to register for level 3. So we can offer curriculum planning support, but then we also work with the advisors who check the curriculum to make sure that you meet all the pre and requisites, so that when you get to year 5 or 6, when you graduate, that you actually graduate and there's not a module missing or a prerequisite missing that's not even part of the degree. So the counselors and the advisors then work hand in hand. So yes, we can offer that support. Okay, I think that's all the questions for today. So remember, my contact details are available to you. And the chat function of the session is saved. So even if the session ends, you can go back and the chat history is saved. So the library resources, email address is there to make use of our library. If you need support with the referencing, understanding how to use the library website, they offer training. And then just make sure that you sign the attendance register and evaluation form for today's session. If I don't have the attendance register, if you don't sign the attendance register, I can't send you the recording. And then also the workshop schedule for the rest of the semester. Okay. I think that is it from me. Thank you so much for participating, your time and your engagement today. It's much appreciated. I think without the students, I'll just be speaking to myself. Quite a lonely and sad experience. So thank you for your attendance and for all of your questions and concerns. Remember, no question is a stupid question. If you don't ask, we won't know what you're struggling with. So ask us your questions. We're here to support you. And we try to support you as much as we possibly can to ensure that you achieve academic success, because we want you to pass your modules. Passing your modules also helps you maintain a certain level of motivation. And your level of motivation is required in order to sustain you over the duration of your studies, so that you complete your degree or diploma or postgrad or honors or masters. So that's what we are here for. Okay. So thank you so much to everyone today. Ensure you complete the attendance, sign the evaluation form, and give us feedback on what further topics you need support with. All right. Thank you so much. And with that, I close the program for today. Keep well. Good luck.